Hi guys, I hope you're well. Today we're going to talk about delivering customer value through distribution. So distribution means making your product available to your customer by transporting it. This could be through wholesalers, through retailers, through agents, or directly to the consumer. So if we look at this slide, we can see that there's different ways you can distribute your product. These are called distribution channels, and you can either directly give it to the consumer. So, for example, Apple stores or Amazon, you're directly ordering from them with Tesco brand products, or you can have a retailer. So the producer can have a retailer, and then the console producer sells their product to the retailer, and the retailer sells it to the end customer. That means things that we find in Tesco, like all types of food, and that are not Tesco brand. There's some different producer, so they're selling it to Tesco, and Tesco is selling it to us. And then there's a producer, wholesaler, retailer, and consumer. So there could be a wholesaler involved as well, or there could be an agent. It depends. The distribution channel of the company depends on how much resources they have, where their target customers are, how easy it is to access them. There's a lot of things that they need to consider while picking the distribution channel. So if we look at an example, we see a BT broadband, we can get it directly from BT. So that means it's a direct distribution channel. With Nissan, we have to go to a dealer. That means it's a retailer, and then we get it from there. With Del Monte's food products, they sell it to a wholesaler who then sells it to Asda, Tesco, corner shops, retailers, and then we get them. With Procter and Gamble, they have two wholesalers. That might be because they have their operations are spread on a wide scale. So they might need two wholesalers to deal with it. One could be an international one, then one could be a local one. Depends on the size of the company and how much product they're distributing. When we look at business to business channels, they're similar to the other ones, but the two differences are one, there could be a distributor instead of a retailer, and there could be an agent. With the agent, that's someone who has ranges of products. So that's not a producer, but that's someone who can give you a range of products that you can order from. So when the product is really important for businesses, they tend to buy it directly from the other business. So for example, if you're a car manufacturer and you have to get the engine from someone, you would want to make that deal yourself instead of involving an agent or a distributor, because that way there's an important relationship. It's an important relationship, and that means that way it'll be direct. And for smaller things like maybe buying printing paper, you can have a distributor, you can have an agent. But for things that matter more to your product and your business, the businesses tend to go for direct distribution channels. And let's look at some of the factors that businesses need to consider. So they need to think about who the end user is, where the end users buy the product, how many places they need to be available, the nature of the product. Is it sorry, is a shelf life low? Is it high? Does the product need to be handled with care? Is it fragile? The price of the product, how often do people purchase it? There's a lot of things that businesses need to consider. And there's two different strategies when it comes to distribution. There's a push strategy and a pull strategy. With the push strategy, what the business does is they focus their budget and their efforts on making the product available and pushing it to the distribution channel. So they spend their money on making sure the product's available and they push it to the customer. With the pull strategy, what businesses do is they, instead of spending the whole budget on distribution, they spend most of it on marketing. So they market their product directly to the end consumer, and that makes the consumer go out and look for the product. And for example, there must be products sometimes that we can't find in our local corner shop, and then we go up to them and ask them, oh, do you have this product? And they say no, but if a lot of people ask them, they have to bring it in. That is a pull strategy. So you make the customer pull the product. And then we know there's different ways of distribution. The recent one we've seen is vending machines. Coca-Cola has made a lot of profit with vending machines because their strategy was that vending machines make the drinks available with a lot more convenience. And when people are thirsty and they can't find corner shops, they won't mind paying the extra money, and this just made distribution easier. And when there's services, there's only two channels. One is that direct service you get. So for example, if you've booked a haircut, you go to the salon and you get a haircut. That's a direct distribution channel for services. There's one that has an agent. So for example, if you want to go on a holiday, you go to a travel agent. That will be an example of the second one, because there's a middleman, there's an agent. So that usually happens when either the product is geographically away from you, or where it is not economical to have their own sales force. Channel strategies, there's several strategies that companies have to make when they pick their distribution channel. So first of all, they need to make sure that they select the right channel. They do that by looking at market forces. That means things related to the customers, like we discussed, where they are, where they prefer to buy the product from. And then they need to look at producer factors. That is their own business. They need to look at how much they can afford, if it's affordable for them to directly sell it to the customer, or do they need to have middlemen? How many middlemen do they need to have? Then they need to look at the product. So is the product, if it's a product like frozen goods or fresh fruits, they need to make sure that the distribution cycle is small. If the product is fragile, they need to make sure that distribution takes care of it while transporting it. And then they need to look at competitive factors. That means they need to look at where their competitors are making their products available. Then they need to look at distribution intensity. That means intensive distribution means making it available everywhere. For example, Coca-Cola and Mars, they're available everywhere. Selective means they pick selective places where it's available. For example, Apple products are available in Apple stores, and there's sometimes other stores as well. But what they're trying to do with the selective distribution is create an experience for the customer. So once someone goes to an Apple store, there's their employees, and it's a whole experience. It's not just going in and buying the phone. There's people guiding you, and there's other products that you can see. So they try to make it into an experience. And then there's exclusive. So that means you make the product really limitedly available. So for example, when you want to buy a new car, or for example, if you want to buy a Rolls Royce, you can't go to a dealership and buy it. You have to go directly to them, and it's a whole process. So that would be an example of exclusive distribution. Then they need to look at channel integration. So conventional channels include retailers and wholesalers. Then there's franchising. So franchising means selling the brand or the rights to other people so they can have franchises of your business. That is also an option. And then there's channel ownership. And channel ownership, that means you own the whole channel. So you have your own distribution system, and you have the store. Then there's also channel management. After you've selected the channel, you need to make sure that you are motivating the channel members. So you're motivating the wholesalers and the lead retailers. You can do that with financial incentives. You can give them territory exclusivity, or you can give them sales support. Also, you need to see if they need special training to handle your product. You need to provide that too. And then you need to evaluate and see how well that distribution channel is working out for you. And then, since we're humans, there is bound to be some type of conflict. If there is, you need to know how to manage it. There's several types of retailers. There's supermarkets like Tesco and Asda. There's department stores. There's specialty shops like Asian stores, Romanian stores, Polish stores. Those are specialty. They only have a certain type of products. There's discount houses. The biggest example of that is Poundland. There's category killers. That means they have everything from the same category. So that would be IKEA or HomeSense or B&Q. And then there's convenience stores, our corner shops. There's catalog stores that have catalogs that you can look through. There's mail order. That means there's no physical store and you order your product through mail. There's automatic vending, like the vending machines, and then there's online retailing, online stores. So these were the key things about distribution. In case anyone has any questions, please feel free to send me an email. Thank you so much.